Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
Arrival of black ships pending. All warp null abominations, please report to the disembarkation point.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher.
Yo, dog.
Stephen Fore.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Mike Haspil.
Hey, it's Clint Eastwood's birthday.
And Jason Grace.
Yesterday was my birthday.
That's what he was talking about. You're 70.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, 69.
Actually,
69 and holding.
I think Clint Eastwood's older than 70.
He is
He's 100.
87?
Gotta be like 100 years
87.
old.
My God.
Baddest mother on the planet.
Yeah, so first off, he's 87, but in all reality, he's been 85 for the last 20 years. The man just has looked old as dirt.
Yeah, forever. He's like as old as my grandpa and way more badass than my grandpa. God, I need to have a life talk with grandpa.
He's still like making movies and stuff, like directing.
Oh yeah, he's a badass. He's like an Asian guy. Like I look at I've met like a bunch of my grandparents and great uncles and aunts and stuff like that in Japan, and it's like you guys Asians look so young until they're like 50, and then all of a sudden it's like it all catches up to them in 1 year, and then they just look old for the rest of the entire, like their entire life.
Your grandma, I bet your grandma.
Oh no, she looks old as her. You look at pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, she looks like great teen. You're like, oh, how old was she? Like 15? It's like, nah, she was 30 right there, bro. Like, but like the second she hit like 52, she like immediately shrank 2 inches. Her back a little humped over and everything, but she stayed steady at that old frail state for like the last 45 years.
She's 106.
Yeah, that's actually how old she is.
Shit, yeah. She's a gangster, man.
For real.
There it is, Clint Eastwood.
Yep. Speaking of gangsters, I think today we're going to talk about our most gangsterous new rules and units. Well, I guess units for 40K. I think each of us have 2, except for Jason. He came up with Grotz, and we banned him.
You didn't ban me.
We banned you from talking about Grotz.
Nah. In all reality, I'm super pumped to hear his Kroot mercenary army.
Hell yeah. Dude, I love Kroots. Shapers all the way.
I love the Kroots.
Love the Kroots.
So we'll be covering that, but a little bit of Tabletop Market Watch, and then we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart, the only war mission in 8th edition. I think we need to talk about because I actually like it the most.
The only war mission.
The only war. So apparently there's going to be a limited edition 8th edition bundle. It's like top secrets right now. But in Japan, they're posting up some bundles on the Japan Warhammer site. Now, I don't know if these are going to be ones that are only available at G-Dub stores or if this is something that's going to translate over. Because remember, all of this stuff goes up for pre-order this weekend on the 3rd, from the 2 Forge Roll books, the Chaos one, the Marine one, and apparently these bundles. So there's going to be all sorts of interesting stuff coming out that we might not even known about. And, of course, they're probably going to be web exclusives. So you might not be able to get them at your local retailer, but you can always get them ordered into your G-Dub store. So there's a couple different bundles. Again, don't know the price. Don't know a whole lot about them quite yet. But there's one called the Champions Bundle, the Warriors Bundle, and it looks like the Primarchs Bundle, from what I'm seeing here, and they, I guess, are limited to each store. So the Champions Bundle is the starter box, 1 or more index books, objective cards, 40K book, index book. So it just looks like it's a bundle, but the extra contents is like some artwork, mission sheets, battle primer, and I guess there's an Ultramarine range ruler. A variant? I don't know yet. I'm sure all this will look super dope when we see it and all our chips will go off, but for right now, it's just kind of like what is that? Might be cool.
I love it. You heard it here first, guys. GW is producing something. We will have details soon to come.
We don't know how much it is. We don't know what it's going to look like.
I can't tell you how much it is, what it looks like, or what's in it, but they're doing it.
But there's only 4 available, and you're going to want it.
GW's making something, and it could be cool.
It could be cool.
What else is on deck?
I thought there was more to this.
Nope,
it's all like,
there isn't.
There's all these graphics, and it's all like, it's really
I'm not
cool.
gonna lie, that was an incredible letdown.
I know. I was like looking at this thing, and it's all like super colorful, and there's these starbursts, and it's like all this artwork, and then I click on it, and it's like I got clickbaited by GW.
I want you to understand. You got clickbaited on air.
They masterfully baited me.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Nah, I mean there is some stuff like pin badges and exclusive coins, and it all sounds mundane because we don't know what it looks like and we're just reading it out. But I'm sure, like I said, when we see it, it's gonna be like, oh, that's pretty neat. I want that. But right now, so just be aware that this stuff is out there, and who knows what else stuff will be coming out as well. But I think for the most part, everybody's going to definitely be interested in the 5 index books, especially after all the leaks that came out today. Those are $25 each US, and then of course,
what a steal! $25, and there's all this deep amount of codexes and rules lumped into one. I mean, that's a steal. Good job, GW.
And I think it's like we were talking about in the webcast where it's got that old 3rd edition feel because you get to your section, because remember, each one of these has multiple factions inside of it. So you get to your section and you see the data sheet and you're like, okay, cool. And then you flip to the back to see how much the war gear options will cost, how much the actual unit costs. You flip to the front of the section to see like the special rules for your faction. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's got that flippy feel.
That's exactly what I would call it. The flip. You got the GW flip back from 3rd edition, because we talked about this in the webcast, right? Like, big complaint people had going from 3rd to 4th was they took away a lot of that, where everything was kind of just in one entry. And when you put everything in one entry, it does actually limit the creativity, like on your part as the person who's creating the army list. So you don't get this pages of options. You get this one box of options. So I remember that kind of making me sad. Then eventually I got used to it. It became standard operating procedure. I'm very excited to hear that maybe that 3rd edition flavor, the 40K flip, is back.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely there, and it's super fun because I was looking at some of my favorite units, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Oh, okay, I can upgrade it with that. And then I got even more excited when I flipped to the back of the book, and I saw that some of those war gear options were 0 points and some of them were more. So I'm like, oh man, when I looked at the points cost and I was like, oh, that's so much cheaper than it used to be. And then I was like, oh, but you got to pay for upgrades. And I was like, oh, the basic upgrades for this thing was 0. Sweet. So it's like little Easter eggs you keep finding, as you flip through it. So I was stoked. What do you guys think? Cause I know we talked again in the webcast about the 250 page rule book. There's only about an actual, 20 or so pages. You got the 10 quick reference sheets that we saw that come with the starter box. But those are also those are the main rulebook references. So outside of your detachments pages, your mission pages, and how to fight, how to set up a battle, that's really the only thing you need to actually get playing out of the main rulebook.
I'm with the small amount of pages. I think actually one of the veterans who's watching tonight on the webcast described it as 20 pages of player's handbook and 240 pages of dungeon master guides, on how you're going to set everything up.
That is kind of a perfect analogy.
Right.
Honestly,
so, and it works out perfect. I love it. And then that there's going to be subsequent books that come out, like magic item compendiums, like this and this, that will help buff or alter those 20 pages. But for the player aspect, but I am very excited. Now I have to admit, I don't have the book in my hand. I don't have the ability to flop through and make lists and anything. We have heard the one big negative is flipping back and forth. So that's the only thing that I can kind of say, that once we get to that point, you know, all the rules are one area, points are another area, and then even on the back end, points for units are where special war gear points are at a different location. So we'll see how that plays out, but I'm excited.
Juice, I got something for you though. Like right now, how many books do you carry in your satchel?
11. That's what I have to take for a tournament. 11 for my
if you're all your faction shit's in one book and you got to flip back and forth, is that more work or less work?
That is, I would have the big end of the V. I would have that go eating the appropriate side, because I'm trying to not look stupid because I can't remember. I'm sitting here. I've got both my hands making talking faces to one another. Like I'm like, which one would I eat right now? But basically, yes, it is going to be infinity times easier than how our current structure in 7th edition, because 8th hasn't dropped yet. You know, so I'm still going to say in current 7th, it is going to be easier than that, but I feel like maybe it could be done different. But I love the fact, either way, I love the fact that will own a book very shortly that will have 5 books inside of it, and when I need to know something, I know for a damn fact that all I got to do is open up this book. Somewhere on one of these pages that I touch with my hands, I can get my rules.
So all 5 of your current books in one book all draw from the same war gear list, right? So that obviously the most efficient way to organize your book would be to have all the war gear in one page that they all draw from, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, I mean, so it is. So there's definitely a method to their madness.
And you know that there's going to be quick reference guides that either GW puts out and or all these second parties. For example, shout out Salahuddin, my man from Dean in Raleigh. He and his crew put together the sickest pre-7th edition game starting like board, basically, you know, and it had all the breakdowns, what you need to do, how you needed to roll, all the quick reference charts, so you know people are going to come up with it, and it's an easy fix.
And even then, you guys are like, I think GW is thinking ahead, because I know with like Age of Sigmar, even though I bought the books, you know, I have like my big Stormcast Eternal Tome and everything. When I play at the game store, I never bring that. I just bring my app. That's it. And they did announce that they said there's an app coming for 40K, but it's not going to be available on the day of release.
Yeah. Haspil, you're completely right. Like I'm a hands-on guy, right? I want the books in my hand. I want to be able to know that I can go. Sometimes I get so frustrated when I have to go to Army Builder, then I have to pull up this and I have to find this data slate, and I have all this stuff that's not where I can flip through. It's easy accessible to me. I guess call me old school or whatever. But with Age of Sigmar, I actually very rarely, unless I need to read words, I go to my book. But besides that, it's all on the app. 100% it's app related.
Because I like going through the books, but that's mostly from my scheming time. That's not for my gaming time. That's like when I'm list building, when I'm doing all that stuff. That's when I have all the books out, you know. But when like
beat slap time. Yeah,
exactly, beat slap time. It's like when I'm actually at a tournament. I usually don't even look at anything because you usually know your army. But if I have to reference something, I just have it, you know. An app.
The last 4 tournaments I've gone to, the only time I've had to look up a rule in a book was when we were at Adepticon and I was playing Sisters.
Yep.
Yeah, most of the time you're looking up stuff is the FAQ for this event, whatever event you're at, you know, versus how the mission structure is going to be run. So either way, I would be, you know, not who I am if I didn't say I feel like there's something, you know, is off with the fact that you got to flip so much. But we all can't go back to the days. We have to stop thinking of 5th, 6th edition, or not 6th, but 5th edition, where you just pick it up. My point cost is directly underneath my unit entry, and I can build everything that I need on one page.
You know, I like the sound of that, and it doesn't. You know, speaking of flipping, it doesn't get any simpler either for setting up your battles, which we talked about in the webcast, because there is literally kind of, it's almost like a bit of a formula where they start out, hey, this is how to fight your battles. And then it goes through, open play, narrative play, and match play. But at the start, there's things that apply, like, having a warlord. Everybody gets a warlord, and things like that. That goes through that kind of is part of all those missions. So if you're going to play match play, you have to kind of start at the fighting and battle section and kind of work your way through those pages back to the detachments, because you're going to need all that stuff, because it gets into the stratagems and the command points. And something that came up on the webcast that I think we need to talk about on here is there's next to the fighting the battle page, there's this black page, and it's called Only War. It turns out that's a mission, and you won't really know that at first because we didn't, and certainly I didn't, unless you read this one little sentence in the fighting the battle section previous page. But what I liked about this Only War section here was that this actually seems way more competitive, in my opinion, than some of the match play stuff in the back of the book, because you can still play match play in the back of the book, or you could just say, okay, we're going to play with power levels here. Whatever you want to do, you can do it.
I wouldn't call it way more competitive. I would say I would call it way more cool. Like it was
okay, sure. It's definitely way more, air quotes, cool.
It was very cool, and I was very excited when you're reading it to us. The Only War mission is definitely marketed as like a start playing mission, how to just pick your shit and go and play with your buddy. Expect to see some Only War mission breakdowns in the Beats Lab, as well as some open play missions, and of course some match play missions. Like, we're going to be doing them all, but I will say, do not overlook as a community how cool the Only War mission is. Like, we have a tendency as a community to completely dismiss some of the cooler elements of these new books when they come out and never play them. I feel like you guys would be doing yourselves a disservice if you didn't experiment and play with Only War with your buddies in your Beats Lab.
Yeah, I want to make this analogy, and you guys tell me if I'm off or not. But GW released in 7th edition, they released something called Unbound, basically, to us, right? Play whatever you want. That was their version of fun, right? They're like, oh, yes, of course. We're just going to not give you rules. You just bring all your little army men that you have and all your little races and put them on the table, and you and your mate will have fun. It's like, that's not what that means to us. That means that you have given us a system that we can break to infinity, but that's what their thought process was. So what do? They link up with some of the best minds in the game, and now their fun game is actually fucking sounds fun.
It's got balance. It's got balance built.
It's got balance. It's got stability. It's got some quirkiness to it. I mean, it sounds really, really fun.
It's got that bring whatever you want flavor that Unbound had, but it has the power level system built in. So you just lay all your models down. And you're like, hold on a second. Pull out your calculator. I'm at power level 9,000. What are you at? You're like, fuck,
I'm over 9,000, of course.
Like, I'm over 9,000. So,
but that's what I love about it, is that it, the whole theory behind like Age of Sigmar, where, hey, I'll just play with whatever I have. In theory, that's great. But when you show up to the local game store and you're like, hey, I just have the starter box of Stormcast Eternals, and somebody else is like, I'm using all my old fantasy models, it's not going to go well. And so I feel like they learned their lesson from that. With that power level thing, you can play a balanced game very, very quickly without anything else, without having to make a list, without having to do anything. You just go, oh, I got, power level. Let's play to a power level,
The thing that's cool about the power levels is the power levels are listed on the data sheets. So you don't have to go flip into anything. And remember, the power, and I think this, I don't want to misspeak again, but I'm pretty sure power levels do not take into account war gear. So you literally
that is correct.
Yeah, power level is just like the power level of the unit. I think it's the untapped potential. Even it just factors it all in, and GW clearly sourced some ideas from the community, because that is very Swiss comp. So that is essentially their system. Is they've, as a community, built a living document that has assigned a power level to all the units in the game based on what's fucking OP and what's not. And so you have basically a built-in handicap for when you're playing in that tournament system. GW built that in. They said these are the power levels. And they did it themselves with their own play testing, maybe talking to some people in the community. So just don't dismiss this. This is like one of the first times GW's given us a cool core commission, as Juice said, and it looks great as a great way to start playing. And also, I can see myself rolling up on Juice and saying, "Yo, power level 400, let's do it." You know.
And this has listed objectives, listed deployment, listed battle links, everything in this mission, including all the other missions, give you those particulars for all those, specifications. So there's never a question.
I'm sorry, Rob, didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to touch on why we think it's so cool, because I just realized that we didn't yet. Kenny and I have decided we're about to throw it down, at our local gaming night on Thursday, right? We've agreed that we're going to use the Only War. Guess what? One of the caveats to this mission that we love so much is literally there's a scale to whoever is the underdog, aka whoever has the least amount of power points, decides who goes first, not gets a +1, not gets a reroll, not gets anything else, decides who gets to go first. And then there's a scale that goes from 0 to 1, 10, 11 to 20, 20 to 21. You get bonus command points and rerolls and all this kind of cool stuff, right? So what that does for you is Kenny and I are having a psych out between now and next Thursday on, we've agreed upon, 20,000 PowerPoints or whatever. I literally think in my mind he might come to the game with only 15,000 because I might try to go in. Either way, there's a whole game behind the game, and there's cool bonuses to it. So I love when that can happen. And also, if you guys aren't engaging, if you guys aren't lining up games and talking shit and engaging with your opponent, before you have that opportunity, like, man, you got to. It's like, before your football teams meet on Sunday, you're giving each other shit via text message or whatever the case may be.
That's half of all the fun we have in the analog video game market, the miniatures world, is the real life social interaction that we get to have here face to face. That's the number one shit, right? Like like a weekly game meetup where we both know we're going to play. I'm going to play my cows, you're going to play your nids. We're thinking about that all week, and he's trying to meta guess me. What I might just say, fuck it, I'm playing all 20,000 points. He shows up with this ridiculous, underpointed army, and I brought the whole thing, and he's like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah, but it's one of those things is if I know that I have turn one and I know that I'm going first, I can build an army around that in mind so that it's worth its weight in gold. So either way, and then, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, Kenny can be like, yo, whatever, I'm bringing 1,000. And
I have way more points. Yeah, exactly.
He's going to so either way, that's one of the reasons why we discuss is like that concept is so cool. It is like what they did with Age of Sigmar, because they have that mechanic in Age of Sigmar where if you are the underpointed individual, you get to roll on a chart. A Legacy of Glory, if I'm not mistaken, is what it's called. And you get some cool random chart ability, which I've used multiple times, So they ported that over to 40K, and I think it's a great game mechanic.
Yep, I totally agree. And one of the other cool things too is that not only do you determine who has the first turn by the underdog, now the battle length is already set. So the battle length is 5 turns. So that gives you even more strategic prowess to try to get your first turn, et cetera, get those rerolls, because if you can set up to maybe have to go first or not go first and make that last minute primary objective grab, then you might be better off at the end of the game. So I think it's definitely worth mentioning. Do not overlook the Only War mission.
One of the things I love about this though is how we were trying to do with the Long War mission that we used at Adepticon, where we had essentially it was you could pick your objective, and it was trying to put all the missions onto one mission, kind of. Mm-hmm. They did this with the Only War. I mean, they don't give you a deployment. They just say whoever didn't roll on this picks their half of the table. They don't say what half. You can just play whatever you want. You could be Vanguard, Dawn of War, Hammer and Anvil. As long as the table is separated in half, you're cool. So I'm just like, that's phenomenal. Like I'm actually surprised nobody had thought about doing that before.
I'm already like out the gate thinking of ways to convert the long war doubles into the only war format.
Yeah.
I would love to. That would be just so sick.
Yes, we are sharing a mind.
Yo, but let's advance the pace because we do have eight units to break down. So let me ask my man Jason Craze over here. Yo, our resident Twitch spiritual leader, now that he's the oldest one officially.
Damn, I was always the oldest one. Why you gotta blow it up?
Look, us young kids, like we're young, like we don't know.
Oh, now you're young.
Yeah, I'm young.
Hey, wait. Just because I got older yesterday does not make you young.
I actually got younger.
Younger, yeah.
No, it's not a thing. You're just making shit up now.
So what's up?
Youngest.
Like, you are the youngest. DJ Gluten is actually your new title.
Glutens. DJ Bread Hater.
DJ Bread Hater. So what's hot on the Twitch scene? I know we got some new shit rolling out, man. What's up?
We got a lot going on. As a matter of fact, we just had tickets go on sale for TwitchCon that's coming up in October, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I know a bunch of us are going to head out and do that thing in Long Beach, out by you, Kenny. So that's all the buzz right now as they get that stuff suited up. TwitchCon is a convention that happens every year where we get to go and hang out as Twitchers, streamers, things like that. So it'll be a good place to meet up with, I'm sure, some of the creative crew that are going to wind up being out there. But as far as content's been going, we've all been, just doing the tutorial train. We've got a new month coming up. We've had some slight hiccups, as you well know, right? We had one of our support mechanisms that we use in Twitch kind of go down, the whole Revlo thing. So I know, Kenny, you just had your Rip Revlo stream, which was it wasn't very fortuitous to have to do it, but it was a good time, and got some new tools going on, so things are changing there. I know you got your stuff coming up with shirts and a hoodie. You got another hoodie?
We're bringing back the ancient Chinese technique shirts.
For everybody out there, don't even worry about the hoodie. It's already mine. So there might be some t-shirts left over for you, but don't even sweat the hoodie thing. But no, it's just going to be good content as always in June. We got our summer hours in effect on Fridays. Everybody's going a little bit earlier. That worked out really well last week. And then just painting all sorts of crazy stuff. Our normal deal on the show is just bringing out some cool new miniatures for some of the lesser known games out there, some of the smaller skirmish things. We are ever increasing our potential and use of our game studio with live gaming going on. We did it last Sunday again. Dropped some Infinity in there, teaching people about the game, and we've got new games coming out in June that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing some Shadow War Armageddon with Uncle Touchy, our local gamer who likes to come over and
my main man Mike C
likes to bring food over to the crib and play games, so that's going to be a good time. He's going to see if he can't lure me back into the world of Necromunda with the Shadow War Armageddon stuff, so I'm excited about that. I got to figure out how to put the final touches on a crew around for that deal. So all sorts of good stuff, man. Nothing but great content.
We have some big news though too coming from the Eats Lab.
Oh, juice.
Yes. The eve is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. We almost, I can kind of say it is set in stone that finalized the deal as of Monday, Memorial Day. We are putting a date of July 1 for a live first showing of the Eats Lab right before 4th of July. We are doing major renovations by Sunday of this week, as early as, and then hardware for computers, and picking the brain from these 4 fine gentlemen that do so much phenomenal content as it already is. So again, guys, look for it. It is going to be legit. I actually kind of empower all of you to go in and kind of start just getting a feel, if you will spend a few minutes and check out other people in the cooking realm. There's some shows that are out there. I don't want to shout anybody out, but there's some cool shows that are out there. Some are more on the lower end that you can obviously tell they do it for fun, and some of the guys that are doing it the highest scale that I could imagine. It looks like a TV show, and I can't wait. So you guys already have a base of kind of what is out there, and I can't wait to kind of blow everybody's mind and what we do, and putting the Long War seal of approval on it, because we don't do anything half-assed. We're going to jump into it. So again, I've got a phenomenal executive producer who's going to be doing this with me, and that's kind of the part that's been holding me back. Again, like we've been saying, I could set a camera up on me at any given time and be in the kitchen, but we won't do it. We won't put our name on it if it's just to that quality. So I am so excited to say that it actually is coming. It's 9 days before my engagement party. I'm going to the beach for a week, and I'm like, okay, we put a 7-day deadline between now and, the 6th, to get the entire studio set up, painted. I'm buying new appliances tomorrow. Like, this ball is in motion. So 5 short weeks away from episode 1.
Yep. And it also is on the avant-garde of potentially new content from the Long War in more than one facet. Eats Lab content and potentially more live battle report content from the Long War. All of these might work together in an interesting way that will surprise you in coming soon.
Dude, I cannot wait. Like, just to give people the idea, my 1,000 square foot condo is getting turned into like Command Post 1 for Southern Pines, and it's gonna be the home of the studio for the Eats Lab. A secondary studio is gonna be built for battle reports. We're gonna have gaming. It's gonna be it's gonna be official. So now all the guys have a place. Jason, you ever come to Southern Pines? You have a place to crash and a studio to work out of. You never be a home away from home.
No, done deal. Done deal. We're there. Sleeping bag in tow. Models in a box.
Yep.
There it is.
Staying forever.
All day every day. All right, guys, let's do a quick commercial break and talk about 36 Chambers of 8th. ElrixHobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elrix Hobbies. ElrixHobbies.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com. Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang. Is that not what we're talking about?
No, that's literally what we're talking about.
It might be a different, but same.
Rob Haspil.
Yeah.
Both of you guys are you guys are the words people. I forgot. I don't know what the technical word for words person is, but you're it.
Mathematician.
Words person. I like it. All right. So what are we reading off our favorites? Who wants to be up first?
All right, I'll do it. I'm down. My favorite thing to talk about in the 8th edition is broadsides.
That's not what you said earlier.
I
thought it might have been another kind of Xenos. Something a little
yes. I mean, we'll start it out in order. The Broodlord. If this isn't a
Haspil, do you have the rules for a Broodlord queued up?
I can in about a couple seconds here.
All right, Lieutenant Commander, read us the rules.
All right.
Broodlord.
So,
as Haspil is finding that, please just find the time to come.
Yeah, they auto die to Space Wolves. That's like the first rule.
So there's a couple things that I looked over as Haspil's finding these rules. When I honed in on a lot of the knit stuff, is like obviously some of the things that were good in the book is good before. Some of the stuff that was bad has gotten some buffs. So as part of the two things that I am excited about, one is near and dear to my heart. which obviously is the Broodlord, and 2 is a monstrous creature that I loved when the book first came out in 6th edition. But it slowly fell off as 7th edition came through, and now some of the armies came out. That is the Exocrine. Haspil, you want to touch on the Broodlord?
All right, on the Broodlord. So he is a single model character now. He is a psyker as well. So it seems like they're heading with. Was he a psyker before, or are they just bringing in? Oh, he was. Okay.
No, yeah, he always was. Yep.
My only experience with him was in Space Hulk. So
yeah, and the cool thing is that he can he knows Smite, and he knows one from the Zinch, one from the Nid discipline. So again, we can go from Catalyst, we can do things, but I also have the ability. He is a ranged weapon now. He's never been that before. He's never in the history of ever could he at 18 inches bang down D3 wounds from something. Mortal wounds, and that's what Smite does, right? So that has got a lot of later game potential, things popping up and whatnot. So I am very excited about that.
Yeah, so right straight off, he has Rending Claws, which means that he can reroll failed wound rolls when attacking.
Yeah, he has the Mega Rending Claws.
Yeah, so and every time he makes a wound roll of a 6-up, that hit is resolved with an AP of -6 and a damage of 3.
Yeah, and then so his normal Rending Claws are -3 to damage, or excuse me, -3 to rend and 2 damage, if I'm not mistaken.
D3.
D3, excuse me.
Yeah,
so like this is the mega badass Rending Claws. Like he ain't no punk bitch when it comes. He is what he was in 3rd and 4th edition.
Is this all rending? Like you need 6s to convert these figures?
No, if you roll a 6 for rend, that means he does minus
AP at -6.
-6.
So all day, every day, it's damage D3 -3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's a bummer.
Yeah, he's kind of brutal. He has 4-up, 5-up. He can charge even if he advanced during its turn.
So let's put that in perspective. Haspil, he's got that range of 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a movement of 8
plus 6
plus 6
for charging.
Yep. So he has a movement of 8 plus I advance of a D6. Then I charge 2D6.
Yeah, but the words are backwards because we're still using the old terminology. So no, I think you're right. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it's in the movement phase, and then I'm running.
Advancing is run, and charge is still charge. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
So is there any way to manipulate? Is there any way to manipulate the advance roll, or is it just straight up a D6 now?
It just says a D6 as of right now. I haven't seen anywhere in there. I'm sure it might caveat it somewhere in the inside the Xenos index. I'm trying to make sure we use the right verbiage. But from what we see on his index card, it is not. It doesn't say fleet does something else. Yeah. Also, can you run down the stat line real quick?
Sure. He is weapon skill 2-up. BS - strength 5, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 6 attacks, and leadership 10.
So let's talk about how clutch that is, right? And one of his best abilities is brew telepathy. Will you tell everybody that is?
Yeah, so you can add 1 to hit rolls in the fight phase for anybody with the high fleet keyword, and Gene Stealer units within 6 inches of any friendly high fleet broodlords. So
that's +1 to hit. That's how these Gene Stealers are going to be coming in out of this subterranean tunnel or a subterranean assault tunnel from the Turbigon. You bust these guys out, do some stringing, and then run up the center, slingshot engage with the Broodlord. Now these guys are banging down, hitting on 2s with 80 potential of a max 80 attacks. Unreal. Also, the Broodlord in itself, I want to talk about his point cost at 162 points. At first, my gut instinct was it was a gut shot. I was like, holy God, 162 points? That is unheard of. But then Kenny had to bring it full circle again. It's like, yo, don't forget, my man, because he is a character and under 12 wounds, he cannot be targeted whilst around other individuals. right? So that is huge.
Yeah, you got to get nut the butt with him to shoot him, and that's never been the case. I mean, like that
has never been the case. It's like
that's built into the point cost. Like.
Yes, I mean that absolutely. It is definitely built in the point cost. For all our characters are probably going to be a little more expensive, and he has a solid stat line. He is putting out all the offense really that is needed. He has the potential. It's -6 to AP and D6 wounds is literally almost instant death. That's I guess the closest thing that we've seen to, like, Khan had his attacks in close combat, and on the roll of a 6 is instant death. -6 to AP is the closest thing we've seen to a close combat having instant death. I mean, it's solid all around. I'm excited. And then the exocrine.
Yeah. So I'm scrolling. It's just a couple pages here. So hold on. I was just there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can spend a few minutes. I just want to make sure I take up all the time.
Yep.
The Brood Lord and Gene Stealer combo you're going to see in full force in the Beats Lab and in tournaments. Just know for it, everybody. It's coming at you.
And just to put it in perspective, I mean, the Brood Lord, he has a potential, like if you roll well, of a 26-inch threat range.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. You know what I mean? So that's
on average, he easily is getting 21, 22 inches.
Yeah. So it's pretty nuts. With the exocrine, we've got, a 6-inch move. So he's a little slower.
Well, he's actually the same speed as he was before, right? Monstrous creatures could only move 6. So I'm really going to dive in and explain how NIDs in 8th edition are literally at their almost deathbed is still better than what they were in 7th. Continue.
Yeah. He comes with bioplasmic cannon, which is nasty, and powerful limbs, which is it's basically your standard monstrous creature, close combat attack stuff. The bioplasmic cannon is 36 inches, heavy 6, strength 7, AP -3, 2 damage.
2 damage each. Wow. Yes. And then there's a caveat to that, isn't there?
I don't know.
If he stays stationary, he does ×2 damage.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you what he did before. He moved 6 inches. He could only shoot 24 inches. And if he stayed stationary, he had +1 to hit. It was strength 7, AP 2. And he hit on 4s. If he stays stationary, he hit on 3s. This here is infinity times better. You're telling me now, if after I have slingshotted all my close combats everywhere, right? I basically moved this guy and run on turn 1. And then turn 2, for the rest of the game now, he just can kind of stay where he is. He's close to terrain if I'm obscured, because you have to be actually obscured or whatever the case may be. I moved in position. This guy is banging down 3 hits out of his 6. He's going to, statistics says he hits 3 times, and he is going to do potentially 4 damage on each wound at -3 AP. Like, what gun has a NID ever had that came close to that? The only thing that I can think of to try to translate it is Warplants, which was a psychic ability that you had to roll a psychic check to hit, strength 10, AP 1 lance. This is a unbelievably strong weapon for a NID arsenal that you just unlocked turn 1 assaulting for.
Mm-hmm. How difficult is he to kill? That was.
He has got 12 wounds, and he has toughness 8 with a 3 up.
He's a dreadnought.
Solid.
Yeah.
He's a dreadnought.
He is very solid. Now, one of the things that I'm a little confused about, and they may have explained it somewhere else, is you got to keep in mind with these creatures that are big now, they did the whole thing, which I think is awesome, that the more wounded it gets, the stats change.
Yes.
And so its attacks go down. But I think these are base attacks. I think these are the powerful limbs, like close combat attacks. They are not the bioplasmic cannon. The way I'm reading it anyway. So it's like, just like Ju said, this guy can be positioned, and then you hammer away at him and he's still putting out heavy 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's still doing his thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, if you don't move, he's putting out heavy 12, right? Because it fires twice.
No, it just doubled damage.
Double damage, yeah.
So
if this model doesn't move in your movement phase, it can shoot all of its weapons twice. Weapon beast.
Yeah, you're right.
The weapon beast just increased that by double, Juice. So everything you just said just got amplified by dose.
That is literally, yeah, that's what I get. I've read it as more of a liberal, not as strong, but it is, I get 12 shots if I stay stationary. Yeah. I am with that.
Yep.
Now, Haspil, is there on the chart, because I didn't look, if you guys could both tell me, is when he is wounded, is his to hit roll? Is that any worse?
Yeah, the ballistic skill goes down. Correct.
So that's where it's going to happen. When does it get to a 5 or a -1?
When he takes 6 wounds.
So after he's halfway done, that's when he's going to start needing 5s to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
But he still has 12 shots.
He still has 12 shots, which even him on his, again, deathbed needing out of.
It's still 4 hits.
Yeah, that is more than what he was doing before, because he was
literally more hits than he had shots before.
Yes. I mean, it is infinity times better. No, this guy is a must, and I like his close combat attacks. Before, we all know how terrible monstrous creatures were in close combat. What, I get my 2 strength 5 attacks or strength 6 attack. We're not talking about Carnifexes or traditionally anything that had an axe in their hands. Like, no, homie. Like, we're talking baseline strength modifier, and you get your 2 base attacks that are AP2, fine, whatever. But for me to actually be able to wound something, I needed to smash attack. So now I'm only at 1 attack at strength 10. You know how many times I've done that? I'm just like, oh, I'll just take my 1 attack. I need my strength 10, This guy has multiple attacks. His stat line is so much better than what it was before. So, I mean, all around, this guy is a G. You will also see a guaranteed at least one of these in my army. It is a firing platform that we haven't had in a very long time, if ever.
That's great news, because you were a guy who was running those, like I said, in 6th. A lot of people didn't play with them. You did. You found a place for them in your army when that new codex first dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And you played a very cool balanced force with a bunch of different elements. And as the formation creep and the detachment creep started infiltrating 7th edition, all armies centered on, multiple flying hive tyrants, because that was possible. But when shit like that wasn't possible, you found a lot of success in this very balanced approach to the game.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you and I have had some epic games. Even, when you were running Super Friends, and I played double Exocrine, double Turvagon, double Hive Tyrant, like a more traditional balanced NID list. And I cannot wait for that to happen. I talk to guys all the time that, they've got 100 Hormagaunts. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Like, how is that fun for anybody? Like, I like moving models around. I love my favorite game of anything that I'm playing 40K wise is when I can bring close combat from hell, I can bring some substantial shooting, and I can also bring the girth that is NIDS, whether that be in model count and or monstrous creatures.
Hell yeah. Rob, I'm really anxious to hear your picks, like what you wanted to talk about, because when we were talking about in the pregame show, Defilers came up.
Yeah, so mine obviously is going to be, one of them's a Defiler, just because it's a funsy unit. I have a converted one for my Iron Warriors army from years and years ago, and I've always wanted these daggone things to be worth taking. And obviously, with Dreadnoughts becoming better, hey, now's their time, maybe. They got some really interesting rules. The second one is kind of a more pricey unit that's in the book, but man, if this thing is not, it's cheaper than it used to be, and it definitely packs a punch. Now, where it's going to land in the scheme of meta, I don't know, but it definitely makes me want to run out and actually spend the money on one of these things.
Talk about the Lord of Skulls, obviously, a model that's near and dear to all of our hearts as Chaos fans.
Oh yeah, this thing is
a model that's just so cool, but God, it sucks so bad.
Well, if you remember, it was 888 points back in the day.
We did a whole podcast, or I'd say like 15 minutes on a podcast once about GW. Stop doing that.
Yeah, because it was mildly good. If it was like 400 points cheaper, it definitely would have been.
If it was
maybe
nighttime
fieldable.
point cost, it would have been playable, man. Even
Yeah.
though that would still had some handicaps. Haspil, do you have Defiler queued up? I want to make sure we have.
I actually do not, but
Stats.
give me a moment.
That's fine. I got it too. Whatever.
I can get to it. I just deleted the Chaos book.
You know,
I was like, I don't.
You may not like them, but they still exist.
No, they don't really.
Are you sure?
They're just
Chaos.
Well, why he's doing that? Let's talk about special ability real quick. So there is a special ability, and it's not going to pertain to. I don't think it's going to pertain to anything we're going to talk about tonight. But be aware that there is a special ability called Death to the False Emperor. It has to, say, hey, this unit has this. And each time you roll a hit roll of 6 for a model with this ability in a fight phase, it can, if it was targeting an Imperium keyword unit, immediately make an extra attack against the same unit using the same weapon, which I could imagine.
Wait a minute. If you have Death to the what is it? Death to the Imperium?
Death to the False Emperor.
Death to the False Emperor, to the Corpse God. If you have that rule, you get to like one of your attacks you get to attack with it again.
Yeah, and that is basically 2 of these index books worth of stuff because there's 2 that have keyword Imperium.
My God.
Now, I don't know because I haven't dug through all this stuff, who has and who doesn't, but I imagine most of the cult stuff does. And I can tell you right now.
Is it one weapon type or like all your shit? Like, what's the wording on that?
Each time you roll a hit roll for 6 up for a model with this ability in the fight phase, it can, if it was targeting Imperium unit, immediately make an extra. So I guess when you roll for each of your weapons,
6s to hit generate more chances to hit or an auto hit.
May immediately make an extra attack. So you got to roll it.
Oh, I mean, so it's reverse preferred enemy. Check it out.
But these, it is, and these cannot. You can't go infinite. So
preferred enemy was reroll 1s. This is 6. So this is rewarding you for a success to generate a success. So it's like literally reverse preferred enemy. So that's pretty cool.
So for things like Berserkers, they have it. They also have another rule that lets them fight twice in each fight phase. So that's we're just gonna pretend we're not gonna talk about that. That's for another podcast.
I think that's it's good. It's good. So when factoring all these rules we're about to talk about, because we're about to talk about 4 chaos units in a row. Haspil, do you have the base stats of a Defiler?
Yes, I do. So it is movement 8 unwounded. Weapon skill 4. Ballistic skill is 4 if it's unwounded, goes to 5 if it loses half its wounds. That seems to be the standard trend there. Strength 8, toughness 7 with 14 wounds, leadership 8, and a 3-up save. It also has 5-up invulnerable for demonic.
How many wounds? I'm sorry. How many points?
I don't know. I didn't flip to the points.
Oh, 40,
but it's 16 power.
He's 216, but he comes with a battle cannon, a Reaper autocannon, twin heavy flamer, and Defiler claws. And Defiler claws are free. I think the battle cannon's free too, but you have to pay for the other stuff, so it ends up being like
pretty classic Defilers. It's not too many points different. It's not too many points different.
No, and I think you can give him heavy bolters, and it's like 14 points less. So it's kind of up to you.
Can you give him double twin leg glass cannons?
Let's see. What are the options? This model replaced its Reaper autocannon with a twin heavy bolter, or a twin las. So you can take one. You can take a weapon from the combi weapons list, which we know are pretty good now.
So still 4 las cannon shots, hitting out 4s, 2 hits. I mean,
banging down.
Last cannons are the truth right now. So,
but we know, last cannons are definitely. We've heard those are good, and it's a twin last cannon, so it's a heavy 2.
Or twin last cannons, 2 shots. That's right. Sorry, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take 2. Damn, I wanted to take 2 last cannons.
We can't.
With the battle cannon, though, it's pretty clutch, though.
The battle cannons. We knew what that did. 72-inch range, heavy D6, strength 8, -2 AP, D3. If it gets through,
right? But most importantly, though, I mean, all the hitting on 4s really makes a lot of that just a lot of rolling to do some damage. What I like, but he can threaten things though. He can like absolutely plink away armor with if he had a twin las and his battle cannon, he absolutely can plink armor away as he's advancing. And the fact that he can move 8, advance, is a pretty good thing. And 14 wounds, 3-up save, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that
doesn't suck.
No, that's super solid. He does get a wound back at the top of each of your turns. But the big thing is the Defiler clause. Like if he gets up on you, let's see, it's 2 times strength, AP -3, D6 damage, and remember he's got 3 attacks. So
and is it -1 to hit or anything like that?
I don't see why it would be with the clause.
And his double damage. He said 2 times strength. Does that literally bring him to like some ridiculous strength?
16.
Strength 16.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
So even though he is hitting on 4s, there could be ways to get +1s to hits. We don't know, and especially,
I mean, GG, bro. Like you just. I mean, this guy is infinity times more effective than a current Defiler.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you get this a blanket +1 to hit, and he's definitely worth his points. Like no argument.
He's faster, more durable, and better in combat. Like again, guys, how many times have we said it to the lead up to 8th edition, the iconic units that we've always loved, that we've wanted to be good again, it looks like GW is batting 1,000 at making these units better than what they've ever been before.
Yep, I completely agree there.
I'm leafing through this leaked PDF for Chaos, and there's one thing that I really do not like. And just paging through it reminds me of the 3rd edition Chaos Codex, and I do not. Yeah. I'm like, damn it, we were done with that.
You're getting the flashbacks.
Yeah. I'm getting the flashbacks where Chaos was dangerous.
Yep.
Yo, Haspil, you got the Lord of Skulls stuff there?
Yeah, I do. Hold on.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Okay, so first of all, the very first thing I see when I turn around, okay, so what Juice was talking about with the Exocrine, that's power level 11, right? The Defiler is power level 16. We're starting to creep up, right? The Lord of Skulls is so far power level 9,000. No, he is 39 power level.
My God.
Yes, 9,000.
That makes sense.
I'm like, holy crap.
Well, wait till you see what he does.
Unwounded, he moves 10 inches. And his strength is tied to his wounds as well. So unwounded, he is strength 10. He has weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3 that is not affected by wounds. His attacks are, he has, I can't quite tell, but what the number of attacks on my thing here. But when he's 4. Wounded down to half, his
attacks go up as he gets wounded.
Yeah, so he has 6 attacks as he gets wounded. So it is 4. He is toughness 8 and has 28 wounds.
That's the same almost as a Warlord Titan currently on 7th.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
3 up armor.
3 up, 5 up. Yeah.
Wow.
And at the beginning of each of your turns, he heals a wound.
Right.
Automatically or?
Automatically.
Yeah.
And that's what the Defiler has too?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, so now I'm okay. That's great. That's everything I ever hoped for him. Now this is what I'm excited. He's always had some pretty impressive firepower that I've always really wanted to play, but I couldn't. 888 points is insane. What kind of, what's the skull cannon? What's all these crazy guns he has? Like what we got?
All right. Let me see here. So the first one is called the Demon Gore Cannon. It is 18 inches range, heavy D6. Automatically hits its target. You don't even need to aim. Just bang. Strength is of the user, so strength 10. AP is -2 and 3 damage.
That seems good.
That's a solid damn weapon.
That's a good fucking weapon.
That's phenomenal.
D6 on average is 3 automatic hits.
Yeah.
Strength 10, so you're going to finally get a chance to, at ranged, reliably start wounding on 2s. We haven't seen that many strength 10 weapons.
No.
So that's huge. And then a solid, really good damage output. Okay.
That's just one of his weapons.
Yes. So the Gore Storm Cannon is 18 inches, heavy D6, strength 10. Unless he's wounded, then it goes down to strength 7, strength 4, depending on the wounds. AP -2, 2 damage. Also automatically hits its target. When attacking units with 10 or more models, change this weapon's type to heavy 2d6.
And that's his base weapon. He comes with that one for points cost, but that's what he starts with.
Yeah, so he has a lot. Then he's got a Hades Gatling cannon. That's a 48-inch range, heavy 12, strength 8, 2 damage, -2, rending. Skull Hurler, which is a 60-inch, heavy D6, strength 9, -3 rend, D3 damage. He's kind of nuts.
So
every weapon seems amazing. Robbie B, can you kit him out with all of these weapons, or are we at a list that you can only have a few? And do you know the point cost?
Yeah, so he comes with the Gore Storm Cannon, the Hades Gatling Cannon, and the Great Cleaver of Khorne. Great Cleaver is 0, and that's read him that one, Haspil.
The Great Cleaver of Khorne. Okay, so you choose one of the profiles. The first profile is Smash. It's melee, of course. It is strength times 2, so possibly strength 20. It is a -4 AP and 6 damage. Or it's a slash profile, also melee, strength 10, unwounded, -2 rend with D3 damage, but you make 3 hit rolls for each attack made with the weapon instead of 1. So it's like you read the first part and you're like, well, that doesn't seem that good. I would always put, oh, wait. And then you read it.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about slash. So if you have 14 to 28 wounds, or you have 4 attacks with 3 hit rolls, so you're talking 12. But if you're down to 1 to 6 wounds, you have 8 attacks because he gets more frenzied as he starts losing his wounds. So now you're 8 times 3 attacks with slash.
This is my guy. How many points, Rob? How many points is he?
So kitted out just like this, I think he comes out to 723, which is still less than 888.
Less than 888. Oh,
so,
my God.
Now there's one more thing. We really need to mention this because it's pretty much the icing on cake. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better. So he counts as a Titanic Demon Engine. So he could shoot if there's enemy models within 1 inch, as long as they all have the infantry keyword. So basically, air quotes, locked in combat. It's not called that anymore, but you get what I'm saying. In this case, it could shoot the enemy unit that was within 1 inch of it, or any other visible enemy that was within range and more than 1 inch away from any friendly models. So not only can you shoot the dudes you're in combat with, you can also shoot other dudes based on what I just read. In addition, he can move and fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty, the neg1 to hit, and he gains a bonus to its save and cover if at least half of the model is obscured from the fire, which normally I don't think happens, at least with ruins. We haven't talked about the rest of the cover quite yet. So I think for 700, I mean, I don't know yet. What do you guys think about 723?
I think that adds up.
723 sounds like a solid point cost for how badass this monstrosity is.
Especially when you consider in match play, like the middle-sized games, which I think that's probably what we're going to be playing tournament-wise, right, is about 2,000 points. So 723, that's a good chunk. And you're not going to be playing him at lower ones because that's 1,000 points.
Yeah. Kenny, I'd like to, what was the old adage that we'd always said before? Is he worth 2 Night Titans?
He might be now. That's what I used to always say is like I can get 2 Night Titans for 700 points. You're like,
yeah, so like he wasn't worth it. Like there's no way that he could defend against 2 Night Titans. This guy, from what was just read, the amount of wounds, the amount of firepower that he can put out and withstand, I feel like the price of Night Titans went up. So they're really on par with like 2 Night Titans, and this guy has the same point cost. I might want to have this guy over 2 Nights.
I'm stoked, especially as a chaos player, that finally have like a big baddie that I can actually play and like feel good about, which is exciting. So while we're on the subject of chaos, it was brought up multiple times in the webcast. A lot of people out here have seen my West Coast Guerrilla Battle reports. They've seen what I do at tournaments. I play a lot of Chaos Spawn. I've been known for bringing Spawn and Maul of Fiends and doing pretty well in all through 7th edition with that list. I have not looked at a Chaos Spawn rule. I have not looked at a Maul of Fiend rule. I have literally no idea what their stats are right now. Haspil.
Okay, so the Mauler Fiend is 1 power level. It's pretty awful. Grots are even better. No, I'm kidding. Obviously. Yeah, so it is 9 power level. Just to kind of give you a grasp, keep in mind the endocrine was 11. So that's just a ballpark. It is weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4. Movement unwounded is 10 inches. So these things can move.
Yep.
Keep in mind, I mean, that's a very dangerous. They already were dangerous before. Now they can move faster.
Well, they were moving. They were moving 12 before, but it seems like everything that was moving 12 before is moving 10 now.
Right. Yeah. It's got the infernal regeneration. It's a 3 up, 5 up. Seems standard for all the chaos vehicles. It is strength 6, unwounded, and toughness 7. It is 12 wounds, leadership 8.
And what weapons?
Yeah. So it comes with a magma cutter, which is range 6 inches. It's a pistol, which means you can use it in close combat now. Strength 8, -4 rending, and 3 damage. Comes with, I got to zoom in on this. This is really blurry on my thing here. Lauber tendrils or something like that, which is a melee weapon. It is strength 10, unwounded, -2 rend, 2 damage, and each time the bearer fights, it can make D6 additional attacks with this weapon.
Seems good.
Yeah. And then it has Mauler Fiend fists, which are also melee. Strength ×2, so possible strength 20, unwounded, -3 rend, and 3 damage. So it's like
how much rend? So how much minus rend?
-3.
So -3 D6 damage, you said, or 3 damage?
3 damage.
So
not D3, 3 damage, just straight up.
So straight up 3 damage, yeah, and that's a lot of potential damage output from Maul of Fiend, and it's still quick. Does it have any other caveats on?
No, it's one of the ones that explodes now. You know, if it's reduced to 0 wounds, you roll a D6 before removing the model, and on a 6 it explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds.
I like how tough it is, but so it doesn't have any manipulation rules. Like one of the things that made a Maul of Fiend dangerous was it goes 12 inches, and it had fleet, so you can re-roll the charge distance. And and I was going for 19-inch charges all day with that guy before. So he's lost 2 inches from his movement. He's lost the re-roll from charging, it looks like, because
he doesn't have that anymore. And a correction to what I said earlier, it's lasher tendrils. I couldn't read it.
Yep. So he's actually much slower than the Maul of Fiends I play right now, way slower. But he is also hopefully more survivable in this world. But what I'm digging about him is he's got a lot of damage output. Like realistically, the Maul of Fiend did not have a lot of damage output before. He had 4 attacks in the charge. He hit twice. He killed 2 Space Marines, right? And then because of Magna Cutters, you got a free bonus attack. Maybe you kill the 3rd.
Yeah, he was pretty like situational, right? So where he could kind of shine if there was a one-off Lamrid, or shine if there was, a hurt Night Titan that didn't kill him before he charged in or something, But besides that, literally he was getting bogged down by Space Marines.
Exactly. Now he can jump into a big unit of Space Marines and rip them up. So I think I like the damage output. Rob, do we have points on him? On Maul of Fiends? We know he's power.
Mauler Fiends?
Power level 9, so I'm hoping for like 125 points. Which
I think he's going to be cheaper than that.
Let's see, Mauler Fiends is 149 stock.
Oh, staying corrected.
What does he come with?
I hope he comes with all that shit.
They're on the same pages as the Defiler, which I like very much so. Oh my god, so many pages. Let's see. So let's see what he comes with.
Best believe I'm playing this guy.
Yeah, 149 points. It's a
Magma
It's
cutters.
It's only 20 more points than he's now. The whole game has gotten more expensive, so I'm not too sad about that.
yeah. I guess that's true.
Because I mean, I'm hoping he comes with I'm hoping the Lash Potentials are stock.
Magma cutters are 16 each. So
You replace your magma cutters with the lasher tendrils.
okay, so if you throw lasher tendrils,
But damn, Lash
that's
Potentials
a melee.
definitely
That puts
the
you to like
weapon.
170.
12 each.
How much?
So
12?
it actually goes down. So okay, so it's base. Mauler Fiend's 149, and if you want to add 2 lasher tendrils, it'd be an extra 24.
And
Looks like.
and Magna Cutters. Damn, Lash Potentials are where you want to be at because the Magna Cutters are strong. You know, like definitely,
Yeah, so
You
you're
can
like
sub them out,
173.
definitely strong. I mean, so yeah, it's definitely like I'm on board with it because he's not getting them all. Like he's definitely got more play than he used to. Because right now, what a Mauler Fiend does is he, if you don't catch somebody slipping, he just gets grabbed or melt a gun.
Yeah.
one time.
And then that's just to confirm. Did you say it's 12 wounds or 14?
I want to say it's 12.
12 with
moved off the
regeneration.
page. Yeah.
I mean,
this.
yeah, Kenny, it's a solid. I'm with you, homie. Like 12 wounds. You know how excited I am for my Trigons and shit like that to have 12 wounds and not have to, it's that 8th edition boost. I'm happy with it. And I can see your point of view. He ain't getting immobilized. That is massive.
So what are marks playing? Can you take the marker corn and reroll charges on this guy? Can you take the marker Nurgle?
He can have a faction keyword, Mark of Chaos. I'm not sure exactly how that works yet. You can also add Legion.
Oh, cool. So there's going to be some multiplier that lets me reroll charges.
There is.
Yeah, there's
I
some
know
keyword
there's
stuff in there.
corn in here. I don't think there's anything for like, say, if you want to take Iron Warriors Legion. It looks like they're waiting on that. Let's see. I don't know yet.
He's gonna have play. He's good. I mean, I'm running 2 of them. My first game, 8th edition, I'm gonna have 2 of him, and I'm gonna have a Defiler guaranteed. So, but Chaos Spawn is my big thing. That's always been the crux of my army is running 2 units of Chaos Spawn. Please tell me that Nurgle Chaos Spawn. So you need to look this up for me, Rob, while he's reading me Chaos rules.
Okay, yeah.
What Nurgle Spawn are. So
Yeah, I did not queue up Nurgle Chaos Spawn.
it's probably they got to buy the faction. So Rob's got to figure that out for us while we're playing.
So what's interesting with these guys is they are 2 power level. I am not joking at this. They are 2 power level.
That's scrub mode. That's okay. That's not a good start. Continue.
Yeah, so they have movement 7, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill dash, strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, D6 attacks, leadership 9, and a 5-up save.
Okay, that immediately better than they are right now because they're 3 wounds, not 4, and they have save dash. So immediately, most things have a -1 rend. Got it. You know what I'm saying? But that means bolters are going to get a possibly a 5-up save. Okay, cool.
Right. So here's a caveat to that 2 power level, right? The 2 power level is 1 spawn. So you can include an additional spawn, which adds your power rating. Now you're up to 4. 2 additional chaos spawn, you're now to a power level of 6. 3 additional chaos spawn is a power rating of 8, or 4 additional chaos spawn, which is a power rating of 10.
All right, so
Now-
I always roll 5, so they're power.
Yeah,
10.
so if you're rolling 5, you're on about the same level of as an X-Crane. So that's not.
So what? So they've always had a random mutation roll. So
They still do. They have. It's called Mutated Beyond Reason now. And when it makes its close combat attacks, you roll a D3 and consult this table. On a 1, you get Razor Claws, which gives the unit an AP of -4 until the end of the fight phase. 2 gives you Grasping Pseudopods, which gives you 2 additional attacks. And then the last one is Toxic Hemorrhage, where you can reroll failed wound rolls until the end of the fight phase.
how much damage do they do in close combat?
I'm looking here. I think it's just base strength, and they have the hideous mutations, which is just the standard is just -2 rend with 2 damage.
So they do 2 damage.
Yeah, it's strength 5.
So their stat line is is -2 damage.
Yes.
With D6 attacks.
So they can upgrade that to -4 with 2 damage. They can upgrade that to +2 attacks with 2 damage, or they can upgrade that to reroll wounds with 2 damage. But they still always did it. But their profile is still. So this is not a replacement. This is an addition to.
No, this is
So I mean, it makes sense because none of those things you read off on Mutated Beyond Belief gave us a damage rating. So, I'm all about rolling a 1 or 2 juice for -4 rend 2 damage
every day of the week.
Dog, that's a chaos spawn you don't want to fuck with right there.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. And you want to know what? Like you said, you actually get a save from ranged weapons now for the most part.
Yeah,
you didn't before.
I didn't, and so I'm 100% behind these spawn right out the gate because right now 5 spawn crashing into a unit of Space Marines. You got to roll good because you got to get the pick 2 dice, get the highest. You got to get 40 attacks from rage, and you got to roll well to win those combats. Here, you're like, -2 rend 2 damage, like as a baseline, and then what if I just reroll wounds? Like straight up, like you can clear out some Space Marines with some basic rolls. So 2 questions, Rob. What's Marker Nurgle and how many points?
So I think they're 55 points each. Let me see. Spawn. Oh, Chaos Spawn. Ooh, that's the proper name. 33 points each. And they have, what's their silly little hideous mutation? Is there
so far cheaper than what
hideous mutation is 0. So their close combat weapon is 0. So they're 33. It looks like it.
So they don't have war gear options.
So, no. But how much does it cost to be Nurgle?
So that's where it gets a little weird. So you can take Death Guard. This is Death Guard army rules. Servants of Nurgle. If a Death Guard unit has a marker Nurgle, it must be Nurgle. Okay, sure. Similarly, Death Guard, Demon Princes, that doesn't matter. Okay, so Forces of the Death Guard. Those that have the Legion keyword on a data sheet can replace all instances with Death Guard. If the Heretic Astartes unit does not appear to the list to the left, it cannot have Death Guard. So spawn do, so it can have the Death Guard keyword. And it looks like all that does is allows you to take a detachment, air quotes, Death Guard, and then you can unlock, and then that way you can, I guess, have access to things.
So within Death Guard, I must have access to a mark, right? Because that's been 10 years of 40K tradition.
I don't see anything about it anywhere.
Well, it's on the Death Guard has its own page, but it seems like you don't get, the only real benefit you get is that you would have access to the contagion discipline of psychic powers in that detachment. But remember, everything in a detachment has to either be keyword chaos or keyword, I guess it would have to be Death Guard to get this.
What does the contagion do?
The contagion discipline. So it gives you Miasma of Pestilence, Gift of Contagion, or Plague One psychic powers. They can use from, it doesn't even say how you get it. I don't know. This is not a good on the spot thing.
So they're not boosting up the T6.
I'm not seeing that in here. Now, we haven't really had time to study this stuff here, unfortunately.
So what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to leave the marks to the demons.
There is stuff in here for demons that
because that's where they've been moving, like, right? Because we have demons and we have non-demons, and it's like, remember how like the Marker Nurgle does a different thing for chaos units than they did for demon units?
Yeah,
and it's always been confusing. You always expect a Marker Nurgle to be toughness +1 toughness, but that was only in the Space Marines book, and in the demon book it was shrouded. So rather than just have 2 different wordings for same rules, they might just say demons get marks and chaos Space Marines get keywords and access to new things. That's fine, because the toughness spectrum is a lot different in 8th edition. Anyway, toughness 6 doesn't mean as much as it meant in 7th edition.
It also looks like it unlocks a specific icon for Nurgle units only.
Icon of Nurgle?
Yeah, Icon of Despair. Enemy units within 3 inches of any units with an Icon of Despair must subtract 1 from their leadership, which actually might be pretty decent now.
That could be good.
Yeah, so it looks like it's more just to put them in a box and.
So it's a keyword. Yeah, it's
a keyword thing.
Yeah. Okay,
right now, but that's not to say that when if they come out with a Legion book, because remember they just gave us rules for all the Legions, and now there's only 4 in here. So I imagine they're going to come back out with that stuff.
No, I'm probably going to be playing a corn army. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm all about it. I'll take +1. I'll play an additional wound over +1 toughness, especially in a game where people aren't wounding toughness 6 on 6s anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big thing. The difference between toughness 5 and 6 ain't shit these days, really.
Yeah, I'll take the extra wound. I'll take that all day, and I'm with it. Like, so, but it's probably there. So the way I play might not quite be as optimized as it once was, but let's not make any excuses. Like, my shit wasn't that optimized to begin with. So.
No, but then again, too, like, that's not to say down the road it won't change again for the better.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, I mean, I'm definitely expect to see me with 10 Spawn. Expect to see me with 2 Maulfiends and a Defiler, and expect to see me with 2 Chaos Sorcerers and an 8th edition Guerrilla Battle Report coming soon out here on the West Coast, because that's what I got, and they all seem playable. I'm all about running into a unit and smashing it up with some -4 Ren 2 damage.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever.
All day.
I admit, just the whole like mark of Khorne, Nurgle, the demon marks that you take. I like the idea of them being keywords that can then build off of whether it's an icon like we're seeing in the book right now, or an ability, that comes along with a different character, psyker ability or whatever down the road that makes it more strategic, rather than just you have the mark, now you have toughness 6, or you have the mark, now you get to re-roll failed charge rolls. Now it has to become something where, okay, I've got this keyword Khorne, and if I'm within 6 inches of a Khorne demon, then I get to share some, one of those powers that it has or something. So it's makes more me
combos, more combo centric. Absolutely.
Well, I have to play the table as opposed to just playing the list.
Absolutely. Great point.
Abilities.
It just doesn't. It doesn't translate 1 for 1 the way we imagine.
Also, by possibly taking a little weight off of it, possibly debuffing the value of these marks, because all it's ever done is mean that this is the best mark and that's all I want. So all I do is build armies around it, right? Like, by making them more flavorful and have them all possibly have in-game tactics, it might in the end promote people to play for the love a little bit more.
Oh yeah, or think about what you could do with an Undivided now, where you could actually have those marks in certain table quarters to do certain missions, to make certain tactics come to life, because your different marks did different things based on who they were running with over on this flank.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be bitching. That would get me playing Chaos for sure. If stuff
yeah,
like
I get
that
you playing your word bears.
Yeah, because I was always Undivided, but I just never got the good shit in any kind of numbers, because in order for those marks to really take hold, you kind of needed your whole force base around it. And so you were, you had a lot of
you were definitely not rewarded for playing that Black Legion love, even though Black Legion's in the books of the heat.
You should have been able, because they tap into all the powers, but all the powers were so minimal because I had 1 unit with toughness 6. So, it just wasn't as boisterous as fielding everybody in the army that way. I like it.
All right, so this is the finale right here. Mike Haspil, the legendary author of Graveyard Shift, who's been hard in the Beats Lab for many, many days. He has been rewarded with new upgrades to some of his favorite units. Haspil, tell us.
Yeah, so I'm going to change one of the units that I was going to talk about. And I'm going to go with, a lot of people don't know this, but I played Necrons, and I've played Necrons since 4th. And one of my awesomest fun combos I used to run were monoliths that lit up and everything. I have a tutorial on my website, which we crashed earlier, on how to put LEDs and everything into your monolith so it'll look incredible. The monolith is back, like, in a very big way. It is power level 19. You've got 20 wounds, 3 attacks, in melee, basically. Leadership 10, it has a 3-up, which doesn't sound, super great, but I think this thing, it's toughness 8, strength 8. But what's really amazing is it has the Gauss Flux Arc that it comes with. It's heavy 3, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. So that pretty much stayed the same at 24 inches. But the particle whip is heavy 6, strength 8, -2, damage D3. So that kind of stayed the same. That is, it's a little bit beefier because it has more damage. And if you land the hits, it has ballistic skill 4, unwounded. What I think is really cool though is the deep striking monolith is kind of back. I can just drop it onto the battlefield as long as it's more than 12 inches from any enemy models. But what's really neat is if an enemy unit other than a monster or vehicle charges this, it has this thing called a portal of exile that it can open up. And I roll a d6 and compare it to the value required on the damage table that's included. And if the roll is successful, the charging unit suffers d6 mortal wounds, like just straight up. So I think that's pretty neat. It has the Eternity Gate, it can still teleport guys around and everything like that, and move things around, and it explodes. It's still a floating fortress, so it can fire all of its stuff without suffering a penalty to hit, and still moves 6 inches, unwounded. So I really dig the monolith. I think it's going to come back on. I think it's going to see the tabletop again. Mine hasn't seen the tabletop since 5th edition, I think. Because that was when they made some of the bigger changes, and I was just kind of like, okay, well, this is not coming out anymore.
No, cool ass vehicles just didn't matter for a while. So now we're definitely going to start. All of us are going to start playing cool mix of vehicles. I can't wait to dust off some Predators, throw them on my list. I can't wait to have my Defiler back. I'm going to have all these new units that I haven't played for a long time because it's like what Jason said. You just weren't rewarded for that shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, and then we'll wrap this up with one of our favorite units. If you guys heard us talking about Adepticon, the Penitent Engine. And it is now in the Adeptus Ministorum list because it looks like they didn't really break up sisters. They're just not called Adeptus Sororitas anymore. They're Adeptus Ministorum, and they fall under that. And the Penitent Engine. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you can find them underneath the list that says the truth.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's and one of the things I did not like.
On. Let me just go off that joke for 1 second. Yeah. Keyword: new heat.
Yeah.
Subsection: the truth.
Hashtag bringing old back. /
rerule.
So one of the things I did not like is one of the things I was really hoping for was that Exorcists would dominate the heavy slot, and that Penitent Engines would no longer be heavy, so that they didn't compete against one another. But with the new, with the formation thing, I think it's a little bit more flexible now that you can possibly just mix and match and still have 2 to 3 Exorcists, and you're going to want a lot of Penitent Engines. So let me go into this. The base Penitent Engine is 6 points, 6 power. Not 6 points.
I was deal.
Yeah, deal. Take 1 million of them, but no, 6 power. I think they're 55 points each. They move 7 inches. They have weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 5, which they really don't need because they mostly use just heavy flamers. So, although now with the flamers, it does kind of matter since it's just hits, instead of it's just D6 instead of just a template.
So they don't. The flamers aren't that great because you said BS5, so they suck at
right. So they suck at hitting now. So the heavy flamers, it's but they come with them, so it's whatever. And actually, there's a caveat. They automatically hit because they're heavy flamers. So
the heavy flamer auto hits. Okay, so is the heavy flamer D6 hits or D3?
D6.
So they still 2 heavy flamers each?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let me tell you what my favorite shit about Benedict was when we played Adepticon. Oh yeah. Go, please.
Yeah. So it's 6 power, and now you're going to see things accelerate. Keep in mind that an endocrine or whatever, exocrine, whatever the stupid Xenos we talked about, that was power 11. So if you add another Penitent Engine, you're now at power 12, just for 2 Penitent Engines. If you add a third one, you're now at power 18. That's how serious these things are right now.
So how many wounds? What's the save?
They have a seven wound and 4 up save.
And toughness 6.
Toughness 6.
Yep, that's a billion times better than the Pennant Engine I played at Evicon.
Yeah, so I'm feeling that's better than a Dreadnought. And the reason I'm going to say that is because you cannot, as far as I know, take Dreadnoughts in groups of 3.
No, that's the heat right there.
Yeah. So you can take this in groups of 3, and they're 55 points apiece. So I feel like you can bring a bunch of them, right?
Yep.
And
55 points is solid. Again, when
there were 75 points before, right?
Yeah. So we're saying for 165 points, you've got 21 wounds. At toughness 6, is that's still cheaper? 3 of those are cheaper than 1 Mauler Fiend with double tendrils.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm super need those.
the bane of the Penitent Engine beforehand is they were open topped. They had weak armor, so you could just pop these things.
Armor 11, 3 hull points. They had a shield of faith. So all they ever had was a 6 of save,
basically a 6 up, which was better than nothing, but they got immobilized all the time, and it just frustrated everything. Well, this time they're not getting immobilized. They're going to get to you. You're going to kill one, and then the other 2 are going to get to you. And here's the part that just makes me adore the Penitent Engines now, which makes me think they're better than Dreadnoughts, right? Is it has a rule called Desperate for Redemption. And on a roll a D6 after completing the first set of attacks for a unit of Penitent Engines in each fight phase. On a roll of a 4 up, the unit can immediately pile in and attack for a second time.
What did you just say? 50% of the time it's going to work all the time?
50% of the time it works all the time. And the Penitent Buzzblades are strength 10. It's double its strength with AP -3 and 3 damage.
Did you say it's strength 10 times 2 strength or strength 5?
No, it's strength 5 times 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh my God.
I remember too, like you charge in with them, you can be like, okay, they go first, and then on a 50% chance, you get to attack twice with them. So you get to basically double activate them.
That is the shiz night.
Yeah.
For 100
yeah.
Wow.
And they got Zealot too.
They do have Zealot again, yes.
Is that reroll hit still? What is that?
Yeah, reroll hits when it's charged, made a
Oh,
heroic intervention, or was charged by an enemy unit.
My God. So let me tell you, I did some work with fucking 6 Penitent Engines on our list at Adepticon. Me and Rob playing IG paired off with Penitent Engines. Something I've learned recently is like Penitent Engines worked if you provided the enemy with a lot of targets to pick from, right? And I even found that to be the case at Broadside Bash, which was the last major event I played in 7th edition, just recently, where I played my Mauler Fiends in the Trader Guard list. So I had all these small chimeras running around, wyverns chilling. I had so many targets moving around the battlefield. My opponents oftentimes, literally half the games, Mauler Fiends did work because things were more pressing to my opponent. Like, got to stop those wyverns, got to do this, got to do that.
Pressing from range, so the close combat shit just kind of gets overlooked because that's not going to get to me for 2 turns, where this range shit is going to affect me turn 1.
Absolutely. And so when Rob and I teamed up at we did really well at Adepticon this year, like actually shockingly well with our crazy ass lists. And Rob and I were just banging down 30s after 30s, like shockingly, because these 6 Penitent Engines were doing work because there were so many targets in the IG side of the army with Pask and everything. These people had to just focus down on wyverns. Wyverns were winning games. So I was super stoked about it. I was making 6 Penitent Engines work in 6th edition. And now you're telling me like heavy flame, like you never shot the heavy flamers. You only overwatched with the heavy flamers in 7th. Now, you get in range and and you're just like, what's the range of a heavy flamer? 8 inches, 9 inches?
8 inches, yeah.
Like you're just sitting in a position that you feel good about. And you're like, I'm not even going to play games with this 8-inch charge. I'm just going to bang down 6d6 -1 Ren 1 damage shots.
I'm just going to kill a squad of Space Marines.
I'm literally just going to take 10 guys off the table, which is what I would have done if I charged and got out of position. 10 times more tactical. And they move 7 inches instead of 6 faster. This is a sick ass fucking unit. Haspil, I'm happy for you, my man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm very happy I have 7 of these guys.
Yeah, we went hard in the paint when we were like 3 Penitent Engines. Haspil 6. He's like, obviously it's 6. So now it's like, yo, this is great news, man.
Would like to mention that the buzz blades are 40 points per weapon, but each one only has a set of buzz blades, so I think it's only 40 points total. But
I'm not with no buzz blades. Ain't no point in making some, 95 points when for 55 you're happy as shit.
Okay, so for 95, aren't they? They're more expensive than a dreadnought now too. So I'm not off base saying
they already have a buzz blade. You can give them another one for.
Wait, hold on, no, I think you have to pay for it.
Because I was about to be like, there's no way they're cheaper. There's no way they're this much better and cheaper. There's got to be. They have to be.
Well, it says each penitent engine is equipped with penitent buzz blades and 2 heavy flamers. So that's why I'm kind of confused right now.
So penitent buzzblade is 40 points.
Okay.
So they're equipped with it.
So but you have to pay for them.
Yep.
Yeah. So the unit's 60 more points than it used to be.
No, it's for 3 of them it'd be 120 more.
2 heavy flamers.
No, I mean than the old days. Right now, a penitent engine is like 75 points, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yes, you're right. It's only a net 60 point different. Now that is confusion, guys. Confusion at its best.
Oh man, no, this heavy flamers are 17 points each too. And this comes with 2.
GW, this is so dumb.
Wow.
Don't tell us a unit comes with
it.
No, I understand why they did that though. Is because if I'm playing with power level instead of match play, then these points don't matter. I just play my penitent engine with 2 heavy flamers and 2 buzz blades, and it's 6 power level, and every one I add is an additional 6. You see what I mean?
But there's no difference if you max them out. Yeah, I mean, then why? I mean, then why not? I mean,
there's no other way to take it either.
The power level doesn't go up, is what I'm saying.
This
so like,
silly.
Whether or not you have them all with buzz blades and all this shit, even if you had the option not to take them, it would still be power level 6. The only difference is now what for the point people. You made it confusing for us by saying this is what they come with. Here's the points.
But you got to buy them.
But you got to buy it, and there's no other options not to buy it.
There's no other options. That is unreal.
Hold on. There's something in the column here. Okay, so you've got units that says points per model does not include war gear, and points per model including war gear. Oh, that's only for special characters. So
I don't agree. I don't agree with that bookkeeping.
Penitent engines. Yep, does not include war gear. 55
does not
points.
include war gear. So let me.
He's 129 points.
285 points for the unit. Before they were like 220 for the unit.
Yeah,
so they are definitely way more.
No, 387.
387.
Yeah, because you got 2 times 17 plus.
Oh,
40.
you got to buy the flamers too.
The flamers, yeah, plus 55. So he's 129 points base. Or 387. Gosh, big difference, guys.
Yeah, I guess I'll be running Exorcist.
They don't have.
I still think it's worth it.
A squad of 3 is a squad of 3 is definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's deadly.
I mean, with Zealot and the Desperate for Redemption rule, that kind of
they're going to kill. On average, it sounds like if they get to activate, we're going to call just use it. People can fact check me if they want, but I like the terminology activate. If you activate before a Night Titan and you get in combat with one, if they roll that 4 up on 50% of the time, they are going to kill the Night Titan before it swings.
Yeah, well, and they kill Night Titans now. I mean, in 7th, like when I roll, with my Space Wolf sisters.
That's my point about the points. Night Titans are more expensive. This is more expensive.
Yeah, this is more expensive.
Everybody's just more expensive. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Is all this wound shit. This is what we talked about like a couple of weeks ago, where it's like everything does more damage and everything has more wounds. So what's the point? Why even bother with that shit? If everything's still going to basically roughly kill at the same rate, it's the experience of how you feel. Knowing that you get to move your models around before they die versus you feeling like you never get to do anything with your models. You instantaneously have a better experience in the game. Things like Terminators having 2 wounds in a game where everything does 2 damage, except like las pistols and bolt guns. The whole purpose of that rule is so you don't feel like an asshole when a las gun kills a Terminator. Now it has to kill 2 Terminators to kill Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's the whole point, is the feel experience. You're going to feel so much better about this unit, and you were going to play that unit anyway.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, is if you told me right now in 7th edition that I could pay 100 points so that none of my penitent engines could be immobilized, like some kind of a, some kind of a war gear thing that says that, hey, these guys are immune to being immobilized, I would pay that 100 points, like hands down, on top of it.
And I mean, like, what about command points? I mean, like, can you reroll anything with a command point?
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't read that.
I'm pretty sure as long as you pay, or you mean stratagem, you pay 2 command points for a stratagem. But yeah, I believe so.
So potentially you can turn your 4-up activation to a reroll.
That one I think is 2.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, you run into close combat, you swing on a 4-up. I get to swing again. Pay 2 command point stratagem, reroll that. Rerollable.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah, so you could get a 4-up with a reroll, and it's only 1 command point to reroll any single die.
Booyah!
Yeah, so we're already breaking it.
So you just have to get in the OG Blood Bowl mindset. Like, you bought Blood Bowl. Like, you have to think about. It's like Fate Weaver. Like, I played Fate Weaver a lot, so you have to think about what's all the good stuff to reroll. What order of operations do you do things in, so you bank a reroll for something and never forget to use your reroll if you have it. So, like, we're gonna have to get in the mindset of now we have these rerolls available to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the guys in the chat actually brought this up. Was having the war gear cost separate points lets them rebalance stuff really easily. If like in a year people are like, hey, these guys are straight broken, you know what I mean? You can just be like, well, we're not going to change the points of the Penitent Buzzblades. Those will stay 40, but now a Penitent engine is going to cost 80 points.
And also it's also them showing us their Beat Slab flowchart. Remember, we always talk about their old busted ass 1996 flowchart. Yeah. So what they actually did with all this itemization of all these elements is show us their flowchart. And it's a better thing. It's better. I'm actually happy now that I think about it that way, that I get to know what their mindset is.
And if you don't believe that they get to show us their flow chart, no. They scrapped their old piece of paper back of a bar stool napkin that they had as a flow chart before, and actually created a spreadsheet that, to the point, is giving people. GW is not ignoring rounding to the nearest 0 or to the nearest 5. They are literally.
They used to say it's 250 because we don't like 251.
Yeah, they are down to put in. Models are 162 points. Like, they created their formulas in their spreadsheets, and they are sticking to it to a T. So again, Kenny, I'm with you. I respect this. I respect this a lot.
Well, I think we nailed all of the 36 chambers of 8th edition, our 8 units of 8th edition.
Our favorite shit. Obviously, a very biased look into 8th edition, a very subjective.
of our most bestest items, and the Grots. P.S.
Can't believe you guys don't let me talk about Grots.
Grots. All right, tell us all about your orc army you're going to make.
Dude, it's all Grots.
Oh, word. Okay.
Because they don't even count. They don't even count as models, so you can't shoot me.
They're not even people.
They're not even people. They just get up, and like stalagmites come up, stalactites go down, right? They just crawl up your britches, and it's over. Done.
They're just there. They exist.
Yeah. Can't win because you can't shoot me. Best plan ever.
Yeah. Agreed. Haspil. Take us out of this bitch.
That's right. I've killed women and children. I've killed just about everything that walked or crawled at one time or another. And I'm here to kill you, little Bill, for what you did to Ned.
All right, what should I rap about, yo? Rap about pooping in your pants, man. Okay. Here I am, Rob, the best freestyler that ever lived. Put some music on. Pooping feels good. Poop like me, you wish you could. Wipe my butt, I wish you would. Poop your pants, I think you should. I poop in the ghetto, I poop in the hood. I'm an OPG, original poop gangster. I poop right in your face, pull down my pants, and I give you a taste. They call me Mr. McPooper. I poop while I'm watching Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I got a poop scooper, my poop super. I drink the Cooper, peach schnapps. Gotta watch for the cops when I poop in public. This shit is sick.